And then they state, guys, it's time for a new championship here in AEW. And I think every single person were like, all right, they're showing like, we saw members of the House of Black. We saw Penta was in this. It's like, okay, we're getting our trios titles. No. It is a championship dedicated to the body of water that separates North America and Europe. And will somehow this incorporates Japan as well.
In China, like you saw, China
They're
flag.
all represented way. I guess all water eventually flows into each other, right? Like it's all one big ocean, right? You don't have to separate it with names. It's water, okay? It takes up a huge part of the atmosphere.
The Water Championship, okay.
The Water Championship. They are introducing the All Atlantic Championship. A tournament will begin tonight with all international talent. So I don't know who can get into this and who can't. I guess we have established Americans are banned from this thing.
Is there no American in this?
No, we have
right.
Buddy Matthews against Pac that would happen tonight. Next week, it's Bulgaria versus Canada with Miro and Ethan Page. Penta Oscuro versus Malachi Black. And then there will be a New Japan match, but the participants have not been announced. So it might not be Japanese talent. It may be international talent.
I think you would expect at least one Japanese person in that.
Regardless, the 4 winners will meet at Forbidden Door for the chance to become the first All-Atlantic Championship. And
a fatal 4-way.
In a 4-way match, yes. Yeah. So, a new singles title. Just what AEW needed.
I mean, I couldn't believe this, honestly.
I was shocked.
We were already complaining that this show had too many belts, between obviously all of their own, an FTW championship that gets defended maybe like, 3
ROH,
times a year. And the ROH titles, exactly.
New Japan is now, you're working with them at the same time. I don't understand this at all. I mean, they love belts. They just love belts.
If there has been demand from the audience for the Trios Championship, Tony Khan has said as much that they are ready and they're waiting to introduce them. So we thought this would all be the moment. And instead, it's just like another singles championship that honestly none of the fans ever asked for. Do you think that there's like an ulterior motive to this? Like, is there some sort of international deal that they're looking for? That somehow this title might be able to spearhead. Like, why introduce this right now?
Wait, I have no clue. I have no clue what adding a championship would mean. Like, okay, sure, this can be our international title that we send people to other companies to defend. I don't know. You have so many singles titles. What designates the All-Atlantic champion that's different from your TNT champion, that differentiates it from your ROH TV champion? I don't know.
Yeah.
This is like what New Japan fell in love with. Just so many titles. And dude, when you're sitting down and watching a card and 8 of the 9 matches are title matches, it's like, yeah, you're going to have like 1 to 2 titles that mean something and the rest are just, they're there. It's like, I don't think it's this killer, but it's a title that is just add them to the pile. And I was stunned that we are adding a singles belt.
I mean, ultimately, to me, it kind of waters down the idea of anybody winning a championship. Like what's so special about somebody winning a pure championship? Like, by the way, Wheeler Yuta is pure champion. Did we all forget about that?
Yes.
Like all these other things. I'd love to know the explanation because I don't know if like Tony Khan has necessarily seemed like somebody who's fallen in love with the concept of just like giving a belt to somebody to make them feel special. I have to think that there's got to be another reason for it, but I don't know. Maybe there isn't. Maybe it's as simple as, hey, we need a tournament, we need a new belt. There it is.
He's got an office full of them.
What do you think of the belt design? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, it's got the flags on it. I don't know why it's called the All-Atlantic Championship, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's another belt. Like, I don't have much attachment to it.
No, exactly. I guess, yeah. I'll one for the belt.
What does this signal? What does winning this champion signal? Are you the best of, like, non-US talent? Like, what does this signify?
Right. You're the best non-American. I mean, if in the... I sort of.
Well, why can't you have an American in this?
No, maybe you are. I have no idea.
Well, they're not included.
In the rankings of their belt, I mean, this exists certainly above the FTW championship, but below the TNT title, I have to think, right? So this is your 3rd tier belt. Where does it rank among the ROH titles, you think?
I mean, Joe's got your TV title, and I think he's positioned above this.
Yeah. Gresham's is certainly, well, and it should be above that.
Gresham doesn't really have a visibility on AEW though, so.
Yeah, well, okay, fine, all right. But
Joe does. Like Joe kind of feels like the flag bearer for Ring of Honor at the moment.
And I would put the tag team championships, maybe both sets of tag team titles between the ROH and the AEW titles, likely above this one. So we're talking about like the fifth or sixth title that, you know, that in terms of importance that somebody could win. It's
maybe someone's going to win this, and then they're going to feud with the IWGP United States champion because the U.S. title exists in New Japan.
Right. Okay. Then you can. I mean, one is land, one is sea, I suppose. Okay. So maybe at some point we'll get a Pacific championship and we'll unite the whole.
How about the Arctic
Western
champion?
Hemisphere?
Will the Arctic be represented with a championship belt?
I think every country should just have its own belt. Yeah.
Well, Pac against Buddy Matthews. And this was, in fact, the first time that they have had a singles match.
We were both mistaken.
They did
never
not
met.
cross paths in 205 Live.
Mm-hmm.
These were two. It's sometimes funny to watch during the picture-in-picture, like who kind of slows down and who are like, cool, I don't care if it's a commercial. These guys were just going through the commercial.
Oh, yeah, they don't care.
Pac, I mean, both of these, they work tremendous together. There was a tilt-a-whirl DDT to Matthews while draped in the middle row. Pac hit a big lariat, sunset flip off the top, and then rolls through into a sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. And then Pac leaps backward off the middle turnbuckle into a poison rana that looked fantastic. Pump kick in the corner, black arrow, and he pins Buddy Matthews. Pac is incredible, and I don't feel he gets kind of singled out all that often when you're talking about like the talents in this company or in the world for that matter. But he wins this match and qualifies for the four-way at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, these two have always been great in pretty much every single TV appearance that you see them in, whether it be, you know, on a show like 205 Live or here. You know, it's really nice though that now these two are in front of an audience that can really appreciate it. They're being put on primetime television on one of the biggest stages that exists in professional wrestling, and you have a crowd that treats them, or at least treats the match like it's a big deal. But you know, I think you're right about Pac, but I think much of that is because maybe of during the pandemic. I mean, that took out a good chunk of his time, and even
because he couldn't cross the Atlantic.
He needed the championship.
Now he's getting his revenge. I'm taking over the Atlantic.
This title maybe represents, you know, like a pandemic proof like visa for these wrestlers to be able to cross borders. So,
dude, I'm not even kidding. If that came as a stipulation, like they get like
a visa,
an infinity visa, permanent residency in the U.S. with this title. If you win it,
permanent
like literally, I'd be like, that would be a great perk for an overseas wrestler to come to America, and they get permanent residency.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. I think of all the Canadians that would love to have this, all the Australians. Yeah. Everybody would be vying for this championship. Man. So maybe that's what it is.
Bring in Speedball for this tournament.
That's it. Yeah. So, you know, he's really, I think, been hurt by you know, some sort of inconsistency of appearances, a lot of start and stops and injuries and whatnot. So, and he's returning now, maybe being more consistent at a time when the talent and the competition in the company is so much more than when it was when he started with the company, where he was one of the, what felt like one of the top guys at the very start of this company. So he's always going to be like a great worker that I think they'll put into positions like these, but maybe he's a leading candidate to win this championship.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the brackets, I would assume Miro beats Page, and Malachi Black beats Penta?
I think so. I would go with that. I mean, yeah, Black I think is in need of a big win.
Yeah, I don't think you have to put Pac and Penta. You know, you have your one Death Triangle representative, one House of Black, and then whoever the New Japan representative is.
Yeah, and it's a 4-way, of course. So, you know, like it's not like any single one person has to take a pinfall directly. But Miro, actually, I'm looking at the field, and I think Miro and Black are. You know what? Does Miro need another championship? Like he says, he's going for God's house. He's going for God's
heaven. You know? Heaven is not a belt you can wear, though.
We need the All Heaven Championship.
Yeah, that's like a home address.